All right, and we are back with
Welcome
a
back, my friends.
special programming, a review of our season and home team with your friendly neighbor, Keith Chief.
Good evening, gentlemen. Normally, some of you that are still watching this may not know this, but likely if you are watching this, you're already in the league, so you do know this. Every week, there's a big loser. There is someone who is forced to chug because they had the lowest score in the league. I have not chugged yet. I will not chug. I poured out some of the good stuff, so I think there's a special place in hell for someone that does chug this scotch. But I thought we would have a celebration, a toast to the seasons that some of us had, and a roast of the seasons that some of our other friends have had. And Andrew, if you don't mind, I think we start at the very top with the number one team in our league.
Yeah, so the number one team in our league,
Mr.
none other
Subu.
Subu.
At 11-2. His season ended last year in some controversy by his estimation. But he got a gift at the beginning of this year. C-Mac fell right into his lap at the number 2 pick. And he went to work right after that, grabbing 2 RBs back-to-back for the triple RB stack. Struck gold with Keenan Allen in the 5th. Obviously, with Mike Willie going down, he became Mr. Necessary in that offense super quick. And it just rolled from there. He's been a machine. But the move that really took his team over the top is the one that I wanted to talk to you about, Andrew. Terry Mack for Pacheco. How are we feeling about that one?
Well, we're getting to my team last. Well, not good because it made my team worse. So that's all I got to say for now.
Yeah, I think another thing for Kyle that worked out for him big time is probably the biggest blind spot for this league, which is the
tight end
position.
Yeah.
Like we just ignore it as a league. Whether that's right or wrong, we don't have to start tight ends in this league, but grabbing up Laporta and TJ Hawkinson have been absolute mainstays in his lineups and have been wide receiver 2s or better basically throughout the whole season. So, Kyle, your team's just been fucking dominant. You're cruising your way to a bye week. Can he get the job done this year and wash the taste out of his mouth from last year? I guess only time will tell. Andrew, you got anything to say to our boy Kyle before we toast him?
Kyle, since I've played fantasy with you, you've always been a really solid player, man. You know what's up. And you've had some rough seasons. We all do in the middle there. But I know that you come into every season really prepared. And whatever happens the rest of the season, you definitely have earned your 11-2 record for sure.
Salud. Good season. And then we have another bye week team coming in right after them. LJ. The process behind it, regardless of how I feel about that, it's worked. Coop Cup, Devontae, Debo, back-to-back-to-back. And then the running back Nato happened. 7 straight rounds that featured some hits and misses, right? Like Kamara and Monty were big hits. Cam Akers and Miles Sanders were big whips. But obviously that's what you get when you shotgun a bunch of running backs in the middle rounds. But one thing that LJ did not do this year is sit on his hands because as soon as week 1 hit, he went full fucking set. and fully fab blasted between two players, Kyron Williams and Puka Nakua. And he got a lot of grief. He got flamed in the chat for that. But that shit worked out big time. And the Cowboys D didn't hurt either. Man, what a surprising season from our boy LJ, to say the least. What were you thinking about it?
LJ took a unconventional path, but that path has led him to 9-4 right now. A playoff lock, a bye-week lock, it seems to be. Yeah, it is. So whichever way you get there, you made it. Congrats. Good season for you.
Is he going to become the perfect 3 for 3 on playoff to champions ratio?
Right? I mean, that's hilarious that that's a possibility. Man, if
he doesn't make the playoffs often, but when he does,
I worry that Herbert might hold his team back with things the way it's going right now. But also, don't forget, Monty was a great pick for him, probably his best value pick.
Absolutely. And I think we all saw Monty as a value, but I don't think we saw him as the monster that he would become.
Yeah, so, especially early on.
So, Mr. LJ, the sips for you. Congrats.
I'm not drinking, by the way. I'm just doing this to pretend to.
You are saving that drink.
Yeah, I'm not drinking it currently.
And then coming in at third on the year is your boy, yours truly. Unfortunately, I can't get a bye week. That sucks. But I'm hoping to maintain my number 3 position going into this week 14. But Andrew, I don't want to talk about myself. Review my team. Toast or roast? What you got here?
I mean, I really can't roast a 7-6 team that's a lock for the playoffs. Your keeper stack, for the most part, worked out really well. That was good. There was questions about Derrick Henry. He's been up and down, but I'd say overall he's still positive. I mean, the RB4 on the season, okay, that's positive. Rashad White worked out well, RB6 on the season. DJ Morris had some big games. You know, you made a big trade for Travis. I know Jeremy's butthurt about it, and he has a little bit of reason to be, but hey, it is what it is. That's the way it worked out.
I had a very bad pick. What was my worst pick?
Your worst pick, I ended up being T. Higgins by a long shot. But hey, you had enough receivers to cover your ass, and you made enough moves. So a hard-fought season that's ending up with you in the playoffs. Hey, anybody in the playoffs has a chance to win it all. You got some horses on your team. Could work out.
Hey, this is a hopeful sip right here. I'm trying to go for chip number 2. It's been a while. I don't think I'm the favorite, certainly, but I think I got a puncher's chance. So I'll sip to that.
Sometimes that's all you can ask for in the playoffs. Just be happy you're in it.
Tyler. The reigning champ. He had arguably the best keeper situation out there. He had A.J. Brown and Josh Jacobs coming into this year. Somewhat controversial decision to go for Jamar Chase over C-Mac, which obviously led to the eventual Burrow pick. And, you know, nobody can ever predict an injury, but, you know, that didn't certainly work out as perfectly as you would have liked. It was a risky play to go with JT. In the second, it looked bad. And then it looked great. Now it looks bad again. With fantasy, that's the fucking way she goes, boys. But what turned out to be by far his best pick, in my opinion, was Brian Robin in the 9th. You know, obviously he hasn't always been the best player, but he's a literal RB1 on the year. Or, excuse me. It's not the RB1 on the year, but a RB1 on the year.
Yeah, number 5 overall on our platform.
Right. So I think that overall, despite some injuries and everything else going on and not necessarily a ton of depth, this is still a very formidable team that's got some pop going into the playoffs. How are you feeling about Ty's team going into the offs?
Well, I'm going to talk about Tyler before I'm going to talk about his team.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler is the best worst fantasy player you know. It's like he makes weird decisions, unconventional decisions, but a lot of times they end up working out because he just ends up with a good team, and that's all that matters. I can be as smart and conventional as I want and want to think I am. If you're 2-11, who gives a shit? So,
I think Tyler has become more solid over the past few years. I've actually been pretty impressed with his growth in terms of his drafting. He's much more of a shrewd trader now. I tried to trade with you twice, Tyler, and you freaking rebuffed me both times.
Yeah.
Only a little sad, but it's fine.
So I want to say, though, the most underrated move that he made this season on September 13th, which is great. Sleeper shows you that history. I love that. September 13th, he picked up Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, for the most part, has been great when he
who became fucking way necessary on his team.
Lost Burrow, but he had the foresight to pick up Purdy, and that was a great move. I will say his team would be a lot better right now if he wasn't having to rely on DeAndre Swift. But then again, Jamar Chase is awesome for him. A.J. Brown is awesome for him. Michael Pittman is super consistent.
He has some scary players that can always go off. Obviously, JT going out hurts.
Despite every other records, him being 7-6, I think his team has the most upside on a week.
Yeah.
Of any team.
Yeah.
So
he's not for one of these top two teams. I don't know that he's the first round matchup that I would want.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I will. Okay. We've been gushing over your team. Actually, we like your team, but one little thing, it's like going into week 14 with $150 a fab. I don't know about that. There were some pickups and some depth you could have made, but overall, top 4 finish, good fantasy points, pop all over the team. I like his chances. I like his chances going in. We'll see because there's still one more week and there's 4 7-6 teams. So it's basically we don't know. We don't know how all these middle teams are going to finish.
Right, but as of now,
a sit for Ty. Good season, my friend. After that, Mr. Bobo. That Jax stacks. I say stacks because it's a triple stack. Trev Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and Calvin Ridley. Fucking roller coaster all year long. But he stuck with it. And luckily they did just enough. And honestly, impressive that they did just enough to survive J.K. Dobbins and Justin Jeff basically being gone for the majority of the fantasy season. And I think a lot of that had to do with on draft day, this man stole the Miami backfield. Stole it. Achane in the 11th, Mostert in the 15th. So obviously losing Trevor is tough. How are we feeling about Bobby's chances going in here?
He's getting Justin Jefferson back, which is tremendous.
Yes, huge shot in the arm.
He's got Chris Olave,
Justin Jefferson just in time.
Right, yeah. Chris Olave still has a ton of upside. He can have huge games. Brandon Ayuk has been great. He's got a team. Calvin, obviously, he's kind of boom or bust. But if Devon Achane can be the guy and blow up for him, he's got to find a quarterback. I think if he finds a quarterback or if he streams correctly, he has a real shot. Sam Howell sitting there. He's got the Rams, the Jets, and San Francisco.
Don't give this man pointers.
I'm just saying, quarterback position is a bit of a problem for his team, but everywhere else he's rock solid. So
well, it was
he's got a shot too.
You locked in the playoffs. That's a hell of a season in my book. I'll sip to that. And that's it for the locks. That's the top 5 in our league. Normally, we don't have this type of clarity. Normally, it's like a total fuckfest to get into the final week of the season. But really, there's only kind of one more playoff position to be figured out, and that brings us to 2 teams I'm calling the Bubble Boys. And we will start with the current number 6, who is in the driver's seat, Mr. Kashek, our boy Kaysen. He's been on the pod. For those that have heard every episode, you're familiar with our guy. He also had some great keepers coming into the season. Obviously, Chubb and G. Willie, or at least great keepers on draft day, right? I guess in my opinion, I thought maybe Fields was his worst early pick, but that was kind of due to injuries. Man, I guess honestly, the story of this team is, in hindsight, really is kind of just injuries. They were kind of early and often all year.
Nick Chubb obviously was.
Nick Chubb was the worst direct injury. G. Willie gets nerfed by the A-Rod injury immediately. Mark Andrews goes down. Fields missed a bunch of games. Really, what kind of salvaged his season, I thought, and his best pick of the draft was Dirty Mike. But how'd you feel about Kashek's season overall?
He's had a very hot and cold season.
Yeah.
Started off hot, got cold, then kind of leveled off a bit. Resiliency, found some running back starts, picked up Nico Collins, was tremendous for him.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of money on Jerome Ford, who has been okay. Can't really replace Chubb. You do your best to get a fill in there.
Singletary gave him some good weeks for a while.
Yeah, his career game was against me, of course. Just like Donta Freeman was 3 touchdowns. Anyways, we'll get to my season. If he makes the playoffs or not, whatever. The remainder of the season for him comes down to 2 things. Does Justin Fields have a consistent end of the year? And can his kind of scrap running back group, now that even Ramondre is hurt, can they do enough for the combo of St. Brown and Mike Evans, who have been great, are they going to elevate his team enough for him to win the matchups? Probably not, in my opinion, just because there's other teams that have a full gamut of studs, and he's got a handful and other few guys that are like he's just praying with.
Yeah, I would say obviously among the top 6 teams, I mean, there's a reason why he comes in at number 6. But look, I will say something to be proud of is you still control your own destiny. You win and you're in, right? So, despite all the injuries, despite whatever, you have the opportunity to punch your ticket to the show this weekend. Can he do it? We'll see. I know if I was as tall as Kaysen, I would get it. Inside joke for all y'all that don't know. But hey, good season overall. No matter what happens, I'll sip to that. And now the other Bubble Boy, Bubble BJ. He had an absolute horrendous start to the season. But he's been making a push the last few weeks to make a run at this last playoff spot. But I want to explore how he got it. If I don't think BJ had the best keepers, but he had the best keeper, if that makes sense. And Reek in the third was unbelievable for his team.
Yeah.
Put himself in a total smash spot. Obviously, Tony P's been disappointing, but he's solid for the 4th round keeper. Obviously, he was fine. Eckler Najee back to back in the first 2 rounds was brutal, Andrew. That was not it. I mean, we're a never Najee pod. Everybody that's heard that knows that. But after that, the middle rounds were just as bad, just as brutal. You had Alex Madison, Christian Watson, George Pickens, and Kyle Pitts all through the middle rounds. Super gross. Horrible. So obviously, despite the magic of Reek, some of the depth in this team was pretty slacking. But I will say, he made a couple savvy moves to grab Nuke Hopkins and C.J. Stroud throughout the year to give himself a little pop in a couple other places. And he's stayed relatively healthy throughout the season. So he's in a position where he could be a dark horse, I think, in my mind. But what are you thinking of Juan's team?
Pretty much Tyreek Hill has carried any hopes for his team.
He's scary to play against. Reek is the 40 threat on any night.
Yeah. I mean, number 1 receiver. What is he? Let me see overall. He's a non-quarter.
What, number 3?
He's a number 1. He's for a non-quarterback. He's the number 4 overall fantasy points scored. That's tremendous. I think I'd have to see where
C-Mac is number 3. C-Mac is
okay.
3.
So it's 3. I think his team is just gonna. He has too much dud potential. He might make the playoffs, but I think between Eckler playing bad, Pollard being underwhelming, Hopkins being at the mercy of Will Levis, Najee being Najee, maybe he's hurt. I don't know. I think that his team, beyond Tyreek and honestly C.J. Stroud, he just has way too much dud potential. Playoffs or not, there's one of these weeks coming up is gonna be a dud week for him. I don't think his team has the real firepower to push through that. He'd have to get extremely lucky where his opponents would have to dud too, I think.
Yeah, and obviously, we just talked about the review of the draft and everything that way. I thought Jeremy got in his head a little bit in the live draft that I was very sad to not be a part of because I was sick. Bummer on that. But, Juan needs some help. So he needs Kaysen to lose, and he needs to beat me to get in. And I won't let that happen. See ya, Juancho. This one's for you.
I hope you dud. I hope you dud in the sack offs.
Now, that's it for the bubble teams. No one else can really get in. We are on to our last handful of teams here that are on track for the sack. For those who are uninitiated in the league, we have always had a last place plaque that is a bronze pair of testicles. And it commemorates the last place winner, quote unquote, in this league. And this year we actually have a little bit of a different wrinkle. So in lieu of an actual plaque, a lot of us are located in different areas. We actually have a little bit of a different punishment for the last place person. You will have a team name next year chosen by moi. It will not be flattering, and you will not like it. So don't lose. Do not lose.
For the record, I've never gotten a fear boner.
That won't be the name, but it would be a great deep cut. You've gotten plenty of other boners in your life, just not fear ones.
How would you know?
Changing the subject. Jeremy, man, I did not think I would see you here.
This was the most painful fall from grace.
Dude, it's been fucking brutal. And I'm competing against the man, and it's still brutal to watch. It just doesn't feel good. To me, Jeremy's draft I thought was solid. Hurts is always a consistent force. He was a great keeper. The running backs, the RBs he drafted were all pretty solid. Brees, obviously, we thought he had more upside, but he's still a great player. K9, I think, has been solid pretty much throughout the draft.
Yeah,
Saquon,
while he was healthy,
despite all of the garbage around him, has been pretty solid. The receivers in the middle rounds outside of Devontae kind of leave a lot to be desired on this team, I thought. But he did make a couple savvy moves. He stole Christian Kirk away from Tyler after a panic goose. He picked up Dalton Kincaid, which was smart money. So he kind of salvaged his receiver core from that perspective, but not a ton of pop necessarily weekly from those positions. And there's a points against champion every year, and this is the points against champion. Pretty big disparity between points for and points against. I don't remember exactly what it is. 1,600, I thought.
Almost 1,600.4 points against.
So yeah, just some pretty bad luck. But dude, fucking 6-game slot, 5-2 start, 5-8 today.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ouchtown population, you, bruh.
Yeah.
Andrew, talk to me, man. What did you think of that? That fucking free falling.
Definitely unexpected. It feels like he had a team with a lot of potential. A, he got scored on a lot, as we said. And B, he's got players on his team that are in a vacuum talented, but in crappy situations.
Yeah.
I traded him Waddle. Waddle's kind of, he's a second fiddle as a receiver, but they don't need him when Tyreek gets a touchdown every time he touches the ball. And they're running in a bunch of touchdowns. Saquon, solid, but upside capped on a crappy offense.
Brees, same thing.
Kenneth Walker got hurt. Chris Godwin has been a dud. Brees is stuck on a shit offense. Like his process, his process going in to the season was very good, and I think he had a good draft. He just had a lot of things break against him throughout the season.
Yeah.
And he's obviously paid the price for that.
Bad vibes. Protect your neck and sack off, senpai. Sips for you. Now, we are on to the number 9 team. Mr. Chris, last name redacted. Javonte was a brutal keeper for the early part of the season. So it's a sobering lesson for us all about the crypt keeper process and how we got to be careful about that. Middle rounds produced some inconsistent results. Like Court Sutton was a great pick, it turned out, in the late rounds. Yeah, I mean, other than CB and Dak picking up some spice late in the year, there's just not a lot to like here. Andrew, what do you got for his team?
Yeah, I mean, his team has pretty much been held up by CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott lately.
He's picked up some steam lately. It was just too little, too late, I thought.
Yeah, too little, too late. He's made some trades. Some of them pretty much all seem to be kind of a wash. The thing is he has a deep team, but depth doesn't really matter when you don't have upside. And he just outside of like CeeDee, his team has and Dak. Besides that stack, he has almost no upside on his team. Garrett Wilson, obviously, he traded for Garrett Wilson, and being the Jets fan that he is, and that's just he's so capped in that offense.
Right.
Amari, he traded me for Amari. Amari is kind of similar where he's capped in the offense. Javante's just not probably fully back.
He's been better second half of the year, but he was a total dud for the very important first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, his team's pretty rough. I think his team is more of a team of looking forward. CD's got to be a keeper for him if I had to guess. And shoot, that may be it. We'll see if he keeps a receiver. I don't think he's keeping Dak for any reason. Yeah.
Bad vibes. Now, I do want to quickly revisit something because you mentioned it earlier, there was a controversial, in some people's mind, a controversial trade because of the surrounding things around it. I don't think that in a vacuum it was a very controversial trade, but looking back now, with everything that we have now with 6 or 7 weeks just about of hindsight that we can draw upon, Travis Kelce for Zay Flowers and Dane Pierce. Understanding that there's keeper considerations in there too. It was kind of seen as a molestation at the time, but I'm too biased to talk about it. What do you think of the trade now, looking back through the lens of hindsight?
I mean, I think that you got Travis Kelce. That was the better side of the trade, but especially because he ends up trading Zay Flowers to me.
Yeah, that I didn't. Yeah, I think he should have kept him.
He got Aaron Jones out of the deal. I guess the Travis Kelce side was better. Also, Dame Pierce has been hurt. He's had a tough luck season too. A lot of his moves haven't worked out so well. And he was trying to make trades to salvage his season, which makes sense. I've done the same thing. Oftentimes when you're trading from the position of need, you're not the one that gets the better side of the trade. But that's the thing about trading. Everybody are running their own team, number one, and they have a thought process about what their team needs. So other managers having their say in what your team needs is honestly kind of annoying, kind of pretentious.
I think that's fair. I think obviously the optics at the time, especially a few weeks after that, looked really bad. But I like Zay a lot. I do. There's times when I miss him, but if Taylor Swift's boyfriend helps me win now today, then it will all have been worth it. This sip is for you, my friend.
All right, let's get this over with.
We have only one team left to talk about, and that is Mr. Drewski.
Team? Not so much.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Draft day. But put yourself in that mindset. It's pure. You do not have the pain and suffering of 13 weeks of fantasy football. Everything is fresh. It's new. Take me through your draft and take me through the process. As a matter of fact, I actually have the draft right here.
Well, you may have to remind me of a few things. I had I want to say 6th pick overall. I want to say 6th.
Yep, you had the 6th pick. And
it was Bijan, obviously.
It was Bijan. So, obviously, I don't think there was anything wrong process-wise with that pick, but Arthur Smith was not too good to you.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of moments throughout my season where it was a microcosm of my whole season. Losing a matchup, I don't remember how much I lost a matchup by, but it's like the Bijan being sick game. If he just played his normal amount, which wasn't even that much, and got his 10 points, I would have won.
Or if you just knew that he was sick.
Yeah,
and you
I would have
could've put in
started like
any
Chuba Hubbard.
replacement level player.
I would have started like Chuba Hubbard instead of him in one or whatever the case may be. Blah blah blah. My season has been a train wreck. You want me to go and analyze my draft if that's what you want to do?
Well, we don't have to analyze the whole draft, but you have already spoken about what you felt like was your worst pick, and that is pick number 2,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. So I'll set the stage. Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, and Stephon Diggs all go in front of you. Bang.
Yeah.
And here you are, and take us through your thought process.
Yeah, so basically I was looking at I got to that point and I was thinking that one of Devontae Adams or Chris Olave was going to actually fall to me, and I was obviously wrong. That was my plan. And I looked at the board and I was like, you know, let me just there's not a lot of running backs or wide receivers that I like at this point. So let me just lock up an absolute stud quarterback now that's going to get me 25 to 30 points on a weekly basis, which obviously didn't happen. That was my thought process. Things change for the Chiefs, but I think especially this year, it was a bad year to do that with the amount of good quarterback pickups were available throughout the season. You know, like I could have been the one that picked up Brock Purdy if I had drafted, like, say I waited forever and I picked Daniel Jones because he was somebody that was like not even drafted, but he was like right there on the top of the waiver list after the draft. Like, let's just say I said screw quarterback. I don't know who I would have drafted instead, to be honest with you. But I don't know who
worked out better.
Huh?
It probably would have worked out better. And I just looked at all of the quarterbacks that were taken in the top 5 rounds. There are exactly 2 managers that are happy with their early quarterbacks: Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. That's it.
Yeah, that's really it.
That's
nobody
it.
nobody else has moved the needle. No other quarterback drafted that high has really moved the needle for you all that much where it's worth it. And that's why this is on me. I have been a huge proponent of late quarterback. This year, I fell into the trap and I screwed myself. That's it. And then a lot of my picks didn't work out. They were underperforming. I made trades to try to fix those. It made my team worse. I spent fab on players who didn't end up really making a difference.
Aaron Jones, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper, Nuke Hopkins, Darren Waller, tough middle rounds.
Yeah, really bad. A bad draft followed up by bad pickups, followed up by bad trades, and I have a bad team.
I'm sorry about you.
So I'll just say this, just to wrap it up. I'm gonna do a little bit of fun here. I have a busted tank. That was my best pickup. I have a busted tank, a McLaurin that won't start. I'm fighting with my homies. I'm going to war in with myself. I'm feeling like a dead man, and now you need to put flowers on my grave.
There it is. You can't get more perfect than that. And now you have earned a weekly chug, but I thought this would be good as a season-long chug. And this is the chug. In solidarity, I will chug the rest of this scotch. I'm already getting a little drunk.
Yeah.
But you know what, Andrew? Before you chug that, and it is a well-earned chug for a shit-ass season, but one thing that is not shit-ass is almost 3,000 minutes of content that we've created about fantasy football. And it's been a shit ton of fun. I can't wait to do more playoff content, but I thought I would take this moment to recognize it. You know, not a ton of subs yet, not a ton of listens yet. I don't care. It's been a blast. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Key word there is yet. So for the chug, I'm going with a classic in Georgia, Tropicalia. If you're a craft dude in any way, Tropicalia in Georgia is like a staple. Very good. Chuggable as well, not too strong, but
Going straight out of the can like a real man.
12 weeks of being a shit team, somehow avoided the chug this long. Well, end of the road.
It feels like serendipity.
Time to chug, my friend. Hopefully you can see it with the freaking weird camera thing, but I'm going to try to get close. All right, ready?
Ooh, that was unpleasant.
Ooh. Almost there. Regrouping.
Oh man, our league is fun. Our league is something else.
There we go.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts on the season. I mean, season's not over, but regular season is essentially over. It's always fun. This league's awesome. Everyone participates. Everyone's involved. Everyone likes each other enough. Even if we go at it for a few months. But we have a good commissioner. Jeremy was a great commissioner, and Kaysen's doing a great job dealing with our annoying asses with trades and vetoes and this and that and other drama. It's not that bad, honestly. There are leagues with way worse, but it's been fun. I don't know exactly how long I've been in this league, maybe 10 years.
It's been over a decade for me, for sure.
And I think this is like my 9th year in it, maybe 8th. I don't know. I know that I need to make a meme of, what's his name? Wolverine on the bed with the picture of Todd Gurley for me.
Yeah.
My the Gurley men was a great team. I'm living in the past because that's all I have right now. But yeah, man, my season sucked ass. One of the worst fantasy seasons I think I've ever endured. But I will say this, I will give myself props. I've made pickups, I've made trades. Even if they sucked and I made bad decisions along the way, always tried, never gave up, was like, not even when I'm not eliminated. I know I'm eliminated from the playoffs, and even 3 weeks ago.
Hey, you spoiled me, motherfucker. I had a chance at a bye week, and you fucked me. So you did your job there.
Well, don't cry about it too hard. If a big one ends up not making the playoffs, I did beat him in that amazing 75 to 68 matchup. One of my precious wins.
Good.
But yeah, man, it's been a garbage season for me, and sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles in fantasy. Yeah, it's great. It's great. As much as I hate fantasy football, I love it.
Right? We have fun. But have fun in the sack-offs. I am very happy that I will not be participating, but I am pulling for you. I don't want to have to name your team because, then of course our discourse going forward on this pod will maybe be impacted by that. But yeah, I just want to take a moment, congratulate everybody that made the playoffs, that is still in the playoffs. I feel for everybody that's not in it, but regardless, it's fucking cool that we all do this, that we take it seriously, that we have this opportunity to stay connected with our friends. This is not a normal thing. It doesn't happen for everybody. So
that'll be my closing thoughts too. Just something I want to say. I love all my friends, my true friends, including all you. But some of the people that I'm friends with that aren't in this league, maybe they're in another league, maybe they're not in a league at all with me or us. I find fantasy football to be extremely important for something that you said as well, and that is the connection point that we have through it. We complain about our teams. We express joy when our team is doing great. We complain about our fandoms as well. Does anybody in our leagues like have a good team right now that they root for? Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess the Browns have been pretty good this year.
The Colts are still in the hunt.
The Colts are in the hunt. Like,
no, we don't have any San Fran or Philly fans. Thankfully.
no, thank God, no Philly fans. Just or Cowboys fans. That would be even worse. But yeah, I mean, it helps you stay connected. And when you get to be a 30-something-year-old person that's, whether you're married, you're getting married, you have kids, you're working on kids, whatever, you know, even if not, you got full-time job, house, responsibilities. Like,
it gets harder every year.
Find something to keep your friendship like an activity for you guys to do so that you don't just call every 2 months and it's like, how's life? Oh, same as it was 2 months ago when I talked to you. Oh, really? Yeah, same for me. I might get a promotion. Oh, great. Oh, I'm buying a minivan. Oh, cool. Like,
you know, sometimes people don't call, and it's not like an indictment of a person's friendship. People get busy, and it doesn't mean that people aren't friends anymore. You just get caught up in your own shit. I am very grateful to have this platform, this reason to stay connected with my friends that are sometimes flung all over the country: Denver, Phoenix, Texas, Georgia, whatever. We're all over the place, but we all come together to play dumb fake football.
Yep.
Love you all. Hope you enjoyed it. We did this little wrap up, chug, whatever, for all of you. Have a great playoffs or have a great sack offs.
Wish me luck. I'm gonna freaking need it. Peace, y'all. Peace.